Hello and welcome. My name is Ali Goff. I'm the owner and founder of Goff Legal. And if you're watching this, you are either thinking about, in the process, or have completed a divorce. The big old D word, not exactly everyone's favorite topic. And I am not a divorce attorney. I couldn't even tell you how to fill out those forms. What I can tell you is, and be a resource for what happens and what you need to know as a woman who is considering or dealing with this process related to your estate planning. What comes next? What do you need to be thinking about either before you file, in the middle of filing, or after you're done filing? Who should be on your team? What are the resources you need? I could probably spend hours on this, but I'm not and make this a quick video to get you sort of thinking and get you the right team in place. So the first thing is find a really good divorce attorney who will represent you and support you. Make sure that your interests are represented and you know what you're getting into and you know what you're going to get out of this particular process. I'm not saying you shouldn't go through mediation. I'm saying you should get advice before you make any big decisions to make sure you're protected. The other thing is, your estate plan has got to be part of this conversation. If you have an estate plan with your spouse, then there are things you can and can't do before you file and after you file. There are really some specifics, and this is where your estate planning attorney and your family law attorney would work closely together to see what things can be changed before you file versus what things can be changed after someone has filed for divorce. There are automatic restraining orders that go into place when someone files for divorce, whether you filed or they filed, doesn't matter, that prevent you from making certain changes to certain assets. Estate planning is one of those things that's affected. I'm not going to go into all the details of that. Again, that is for your estate planning attorney and your family law attorney to connect up with and go, what do we do with the current estate plan? If you haven't filed, or let's say you're at the end of the process, you need your own estate plan, right? By the end of this process, everything is signed, judge is approved, assets have been divided. You're now a single woman and you need to manage your stuff, like it or not. Until you decide to partner up with someone else, you're single. Might be nice. I don't know. Being single seems kind of nice. You can just be in charge of your own things, make your own decisions. You don't have to ask permission of anyone. So, you need your own estate plan. This is going to protect you. This is going to protect your legacy. This is going to make sure that your assets don't go back to your ex because I've seen it before. Wife goes through a divorce, gets everything taken care of, forgets to update the beneficiary designation, dies. That retirement account, who has ex-husband or ex-wife on the account, goes back to that person, even though there was a divorce decree and a separation of assets. That's a legal contract. Your accounts, your retirement accounts, your cash accounts, those are contracts with institutions and they trump any legal documents. How about that? They're their own legal document. So the most important thing is if you've gone through this process, if you spent the time, effort, energy, and money, probably resources, to go through a divorce, make sure that those assets don't end up back in your ex's name, especially if you have kids, right? See this is scenario. Husband and wife are married, they get divorced, wife, they have minor kids, right? Split all the assets, update all the beneficiary designations, that's great. Wife dies, it goes to the kids because they're under 18 because she didn't plan well and didn't put it into a trust. Guess who's first in line to be guardian of that estate? Ex-husband. Yeah. Now he's in charge of the kids' money again. Probably not exactly what you wanted. So, making sure your estate plan is buttoned up and created for the protection of your beneficiaries and the protection of you, making sure that you know who's making your medical and financial decisions if you are incapacitated, car accident, coma, dementia, whatever it is, make sure that you've got that in place so that someone can make decisions for you and they're the person that you want making those decisions. All right, that's on the estate plan. Let's talk about some of the other people and roles that will help support you in this new era. We're going to call it an era. Why? Because I don't know. Thought it was fun. Let's start with a financial advisor. You might not need someone to manage your assets, but you should absolutely, after you're now in charge of these assets, maybe during it, meet with a financial professional who can give you advice on what you should and shouldn't be doing, how much you need to save for what goal, what kind of investments you should be in based on your age, your risk tolerance, and again, your goals. Whether you choose to work with them long term or pay them hourly or figure out if you want a financial plan that you can then execute, I don't care, but you need that information, especially if your spouse is the person who was the financial driver of the bus and you were the assistant driver or backseat passenger just chilling, not worrying about the finances. Welcome to the front of the bus. It's your turn to drive until you delegate that bus driving to someone else, or you keep it for the rest of your life. I'm the financial bus driver. I like that role. Not the role for everyone. But right now, as a divorced woman, it is your role. It's time for you to take responsibility and be in charge of your finances, which means making sure your investments, your savings, retirement planning, all of that is you've got eyeballs on it. You can't just go, I hope things work out. That's not how we approach this now. Now is your time to show up and take ownership. The other really important role is a CPA. Fine. You filed your taxes forever and you want to keep filing your taxes. Fine. I don't care. That's up to you. Meet with a CPA, pay them for a consultation or something to give you advice on what tax strategies do you need now that you are single? Do you run a business? Is that have things changed? Do you have minor children? Do you have adult children? Do you have a no longer a taxable estate? Do you have a taxable estate because now you're not married and you have a bunch of separate property? What if you're going to be inheriting a bunch of money? I just did a video on that. What are your options? What should you be thinking about? Make sure that you're getting financial CPA level or tax strategy, a tax attorney to review your options for you and give you advice on what you should be thinking about and doing. Again, whether you choose to keep these people on your team and work with them on a really close basis, like quarterly, or you check in with them every couple of years is up to you. But this isn't something we just sort of hope gets better or guess. You're now in charge of your life, all of it. Again, you don't have a legal partner anymore to help delegate responsibility and authority. Let's make sure you've got the people on the bus that need to be on the bus advising you as the bus driver. And eventually, maybe you want to delegate some of that stuff. I don't care. That's fine. But right now is let's get things organized. Estate plan, financial plan, CPA. I'm sure there's a bunch of other people that might need to be on your bus. I like this bus analogy. We're going to roll with it. If you're missing someone you think should be on the bus, let us know. We refer a lot of people to our female clients who are facing divorce. We update their estate plans, we clean them up, we get them set up, we get them assembled with a new team. And then, of course, they don't usually work with us every year because most people don't change their estate plan every year. But we got them as a resource. We can put them in the right direction and then help them on the next steps. So I hope that was helpful. Like I said, divorce is usually not a fun process. It's not usually very enjoyable. But you're in charge now. You're responsible, or you're going to be. And you should know what's coming and start thinking about if you're not the end of the process, you're start at the beginning. Think about that team now so that they're ready to go, can support you throughout the process. And then at the end, when it's completed, to make sure that everything is exactly the way it needs to be. You can find more information about our find I never say that right. You can find more information about our firm at gofflegal.com.